Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for being here. As always, today we have a very special guest. We have Diego DiTomasso, the COO and co-founder at OVR. You've probably seen this project before because it's been on my channel before, but we're going to talk about some of the new stuff that's going on in the OVR space around Metaverse, augmented reality, virtual reality, all that good stuff. Diego, thanks for being here.
Thanks to you for having us. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would love if you could, just to level set, some folks will know about it, other folks won't. Could you just really quickly, before we get started, give the elevator pitch or the introduction to what OVR is?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So basically, OVR is a platform for the augmented reality metaverse, for an open augmented reality metaverse, because of course they are based on the blockchain. And so the idea with this fancy word is to create, because everybody now is metaverse, but actually we've been here since before it was cool. So basically what we are doing, we are creating an infrastructure to connect augmented reality experiences to geographic locations. So at a very high level, our platform is made up of 3 layers. So the base layer is an ownership layer. So we break down the world in hexagons of 300 square meters, and those are called OVRLand. And those are like web domains, but for space. So we call it spatial domains. So in the web, you own a web domain, you design the content of the website. In OVR, you basically own geographic coordinates. Like, for example, you can own the Colosseum. And if you own that, you can actually publish augmented reality content connected to that location. So when you're there with your phone, you can actually visualize those contents. And we are mobile first, so all of this augmented reality and actually virtual reality we support, it works on a mobile phone, both iOS and Android. This is the base layer, the ownership layer. And all of those are NFTs on Ethereum, and soon will be on Polygon, as I will tell about later on. So the second layer is a mapping layer. So if you think about that, the first use case of augmented reality that comes in your mind probably is Pokemon Go. And there's a reason for that. The reason is that use case, that specific use case, doesn't need for having a very precise localization. When you collect Pokemons, you don't care if it's here in the front of the door outside. You just go and collect those. Yeah. So and that is because of technological limitations. So right now, everybody that tries to build an augmented reality metaverse or try to do something in augmented reality that is geolocalized, they use GPS. And GPS is okay, but it has like 2 to 6 meters precision outdoor, and indoor doesn't work at all. So that's why, the only use cases that have been working up to now are the ones that doesn't need for precise geolocation. So at OVR, we'll be working in the last year to solve this problem. And the way we solve it, we create some algorithms that from normal pictures taken from a normal phone, we can create a 3D map that can be used of the location, that can be used to allocate assets over there. But also we train a neural network so that when the camera of the phone sees again that location, we'll know where you are with 20 centimeters accuracy, both outdoor and indoor. For us, this is a very, very important layer. And this will open up a lot of new use cases. The third layer is what we call the builder or SDK. So a software that allows you to actually upload these assets in the locations. So we have 2 kinds of builders. One easy to use for no coders. So it's a browser-based software. So you just drag and drop GLBF files. And then we came out in the last 3 weeks with a Unity plugin, so that people that can actually code can have the expressivity of Unity to actually create even games if they want, or complex interactions inside of our platform. So this is at a very, very high level what we're doing. We launched the project in December 2020, actually, even if we've been building since 2019. And yeah, things have been going incredibly good lately. We sold 650,000 of these virtual lands to more than 15,000 users. That, just to put it in perspective, if you take, for example, Sandbox, they have 17,000 owners of lands. So in terms of participation, our platform is going very, very strong. And yes, also we have people that are actually uploading contents we actually have more than 6,000 experiences that are live and that you can explore and test on OVR.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, when I first heard about you, for what it's worth, the biggest thing was the technology vision as sort of these different layers building up to like a canvas for artists and for community builders and just for normal people to build whatever they want in this world. It doesn't necessarily require you to, you know, to delve super deeply, like throw on goggles and sit at home. You can be outside and you can be actively exploring, which is really cool. So what are some of the, do you have some examples of how people are using this, you know, this feature and taking those hexagonal plots and building experiences on them?
Yes, of course. So I just wanted to add one thing, that basically when you are in this metaverse, every time you explore it with your phone, of course, as you was mentioning, you actually are there with your avatar. We have a technology that basically from a single picture of from a single selfie, we create a 3D avatar of you with the photorealistic avatar. And so basically the way that people mostly are using right now the platform are three. So one is a treasure hunt like Pokemon Go. Also, we collaborate with other projects with that are distributing NFTs, and we send people in 1.4 million locations physically to collect those tokens in the last year. So this is one thing. Another big thing that people is doing is basically uploading works of art, or also we have people that starting doing marketing with this, so creating some content to showcase. And the third thing that actually is attracting a lot of people is also meeting in this metaverse. So basically, you can be there with your avatar, and you can meet other avatars. A few months ago, we did the first trial of an event with a DJ. We let him wear a suit, a motion tracking suit, and basically he was performing in front of all other people. Right now, we support 200,000 people looking at one event in contemporary. And of course, since you cannot pack 200,000 people in one single room, we divide them by 50 people. So you will be able to see the performer and interact with other 50 people around you. And the 51st will be in another room, and so on recursively. So this is the three main things that actually users are using OVR for. And we expect to have many more use cases once we have this map to earn feature in place, because then we will be able to actually anchor content specifically to location. So just to give you an example, let's take malls or retail. Let's imagine that you want to have an avatar in front of the door. You need to be there to explain you about products or services. Or let's say that you want to create a path inside a location, a big location, again, for example, a mall. So you want to know where to go. So having this technology that allows you to be very precise will open up a whole new realm of use cases for that.
That makes sense. I mean, it's a technical challenge in and of itself to have a bridge between the physical world and the digital world in real time, but especially when you have things that need to be location aware, you need a pretty solid level of precision to be able to anchor things where they need to be, particularly when you have ownership involved, because people want their stuff in their hexagonal plot of land. So
Absolutely.
The last thing on this, though, is, you know, I read an announcement recently that you integrated a new tool. It's called Threedium, and I'll put that on the screen so people can look at it. Can you explain how that plays into this? You know, the idea of people creating?
Yes, of course. So as I was mentioning, this builder is the third layer, and this is very important for us. So our idea is really to build a platform to allow people to create assets and content, 3D content, to upload in this metaverse. So Threedium is part of that, because if you don't have skills on creating 3D assets, you can use Threedium's tool, just upload some 2D pictures and ask them to create the 3D assets for you that will be available inside our builder to be published. So right now you can publish content that you can buy on Sketchfab. You can build it yourself. You can have an NFT. If you have an NFT in your wallet, you can publish it in space. You can also visualize it at your home, for example, but you can also publish and connect it to a location in augmented reality. So our goal is to try to make these tools as powerful as it's possible, so that we lower the barrier to entry to people that want to create content in the metaverse.
Makes sense. Got it. And then the other thing that people are always curious about, and I think whenever you hear the word metaverse, whenever you hear the word like blockchain gaming or AR, VR, you're now hearing in the same sentence play to earn. Like everyone's interested in how they can, produce income by building experiences, participating in these ecosystems, and just using the tool. So you mentioned just a minute ago something called Map to Earn. I think I know where you're going with that, but could you share what Map to Earn is and how people might be able to get involved?
Yes, absolutely. So just coming back at a little bit higher level to what is your question about play to earn. So in our case, we have three main ways to interact with this play to earn general concept. So one, the first way to play to earn in OVR is to participate to these treasure hunts. So with those, we distribute both our tokens and tokens from other projects like NFT projects that want to engage the community and drop NFTs to the best collectors. That's another way that will be available with the next version of the builder will be actually to create play to earn games over OVR. And the third one that is the one that you're referring to, of course, is this map to earn that we believe will be very big. So the idea is that anybody will be able to actually go in a location and scan it. So scanning the location means to take pictures of the location. What they produce with this activity, they produce an NFT. The NFT actually, it's ownership of the person that actually created it because he did the job. So, but the idea, of course, is that the person that will be interested to have this NFT will be the owners of the land. So we will create a market, and this market will be, will be built with us, OVR, that will incentivize part of it. So we will be one of the first buyers, but we expect also that the owners of the land will want to have their land scanned, because if they are their land scanned, that is more valuable because you can build more on that and you can actually have precise geolocation. So this is a way to actually create another opportunity to earn in this metaverse, because of course metaverse is cool and everybody builds metaverses now, but we believe that the metaverse that will have success will be the ones where actually people can also do something and earn something. Not yes, they need to meet people, enjoy and so on, but also the earning side is very important. So that's why, we've been, I think in the last 4 months, we've been really focused on actually creating this use case. And actually, at the end of January, we will come out with this alpha version that people will be able to start using. And in another month, we believe that we will have a beta version that will be stable enough to actually be assessed by everyone. And so we're very excited to see how the market react to this.
It'll be very interesting. I mean, I think a lot of people are familiar with this idea of being able to contribute to a platform in a tangible way and be rewarded for it. And of course, being able to, to create, maybe to interact with, with content in that space and to be able to earn for it. So it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out. And of course, how quickly it provides the data that you need to build sort of on top.
Yeah, actually, okay, of course, it's very difficult to do predictions on that, but we have some numbers. So basically, as I was mentioning before, our users already went to 1.4 million locations to actually collect tokens. So, and it's right now is 60,000 people that participated to this kind of treasure hunt. So we will give them another opportunity to, interact with the platform. And so we believe that in the next year, we will be able to map all of the locations that have been bought. And the interesting thing that if you think about that, the locations that have been bought is a kind of wisdom of the crowds on what are the interesting places on Earth. Because of course, at the end of the day, people voted with their tokens, buying the lands on what are the best locations. So nobody can really map the whole world. So our focus is to start mapping those locations that the crowd, of citizens of OVR thought was valuable. And so we believe that in 1 year we could close this goal, and then let's see what really happens. But this is what the numbers at least hint to us.
Yeah, so we'll follow up. We'll follow up in a year, and we'll take a look at whether we hit the goals. I think that would be cool. Now, you also mentioned this before, and I think this is critical not only for the uptake, in building up a user base, but also in making play to earn viable. And you mentioned you're in the middle of a Polygon migration, which of course is there to help alleviate potential fee issues that people have in the Ethereum space. Can you talk a little more about that?
Absolutely. So yeah, we've been thinking about scaling solutions since the inception of OVR, because we knew that we need to do microtransaction even before Ethereum was crazy expensive. And so we've been looking at many solutions, and we think that we are very happy with the decision of going to Polygon, because we see that at least in Ethereum landscape, it's accepted like the most used scaling solution, or at least a scaling solution that now works and goes in the direction that Ethereum with this roadmap has been laying down. So we will be there in two phases. The first phase will be here in January. So we will allow for buying and selling lands on Polygon. And while on January, we will mint all of the lands that basically right now are not minted on Ethereum because of the gas cost. So when we launched our platform, minting an NFT, an OVRLand NFT, costed $5. Now minting an NFT is like $60. So because of that, we created this light minting function that basically saves the ownership of an Merkle tree. So this is very good in terms of usability and is very cheap. But the point is that doesn't allow for people to check on Etherscan how many lands we have been sold. So we've been also reporting that, but we are in blockchain, so we don't trust, we verify. So we believe that being in Polygon and also being able to mint 650,000 of these lands and showcasing to the world on the blockchain how big, what is the scale of the land purchase and also of the amount of land owners is very important. So that's also because we are very excited about finally being on Polygon and giving a totally, disintermediated ownership of these lands, because this is also in the philosophy of the open metaverses.
Well, here's the other thing that I'm thinking about, right? When I look at like the scaling solution space and thinking about where we're going, do you think that in the future, OVR, over however we want to say it, do you think that you'll be in a place that is more or less like cross-chain? Will you continue to expand to other blockchain ecosystems, or are you going to stay kind of focused on this EVM space?
Well, so of course, being in the EVM space is the less friction path, because of course you can port the smart contracts very easily. So of course, in blockchain, you can really never say I'm going to be there forever, because things change very fast. Yeah. So for the moment, we are already cross-chain, because basically our token is already on Binance Chain and also on Polygon. Actually, today we just deployed also a pool on Uniswap 3 on Polygon. So the token, the ERC20 token, is already cross-chain, while for the ERC721, so for the NFTs, we see that it's not so easy to move NFTs cross-chain. So basically, the ownership layer, at least for the next year, that I can imagine, will stay on Polygon. So we will try to migrate all of the ownership layer on Polygon for the NFTs. And then in the future, actually, who knows? If the market decides that there are better solutions, or there are other L1s that basically compete with Ethereum and will survive the bear market, because this is another big thing. Because in bull markets, everything looks fantastic. And I remember 2017, there was many layer ones that looked fantastic, and they didn't look fantastic anymore later. So, if other layer one blockchains survive the bear market and, get a lot of traction, why not? At the end of the day, our real point is to give as much access as is possible, but also for us, it's very important being in a, let's say, really decentralized chain. So that's why we decided to be close to Ethereum right now. But it's very difficult to say what the future. What will happen in the future. If you ask me, what I think will be the end game, like Vitalik said, basically is that we will have one or two, maybe layer ones, and then many rollups over there. So because at the end of the day, L1s cannot support all of the transactions that adoption will bring. So I think that this is the solution, and probably all of the chains will go in that direction. But let's see. Saying what will happen in the future in crypto is always very difficult. So in 1 year, if you ask me again, maybe I'm wrong. So
Yeah.
don't quote me.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, tomorrow everything can change, but I think that's what's so special about this space, and that's why, even though you and I spoke on the channel like 7 months ago, how much has changed since then is incredible as well. Even just in the macroeconomic conditions around crypto, you mentioned the change in gas fees and the usage of Ethereum changes your strategy. So I'm sure when we speak next, everything will be different then as well.
Absolutely. I have no doubt about that. Yeah.
Yes, no doubt whatsoever. So last thing I wanted to ask you is if folks want to get involved, if they want to try out the product, where can they go? How can they engage with you on socials?
Yeah, of course. We have both Telegram and Discord. But I would say that Telegram is the most active. So definitely you can be there. But also we are on Twitter. I mean, we cover most all of the channels. But the most of the action also is on Telegram. So join our official Telegram group, because as you know, in blockchain, there's many scams. So please go from the official website. And yes, we are happy to support you and explain you anything that you maybe don't understand at the beginning of the platform, that actually, for us, we live and we breathe it every day. But for newcomers, it's not so easy to understand. And also I think that the best way is try just download the app and start playing with it. And so you don't need necessarily to buy a land or buy tokens immediately. You just try to see what's the product and what we're building. And that's, I think, that the best way to actually understand if you like it, if you don't like it, and what is the potential.
Right there with you. So what I will do is I will link up the Root website, and there will be the sort of bridge to the official Telegram and some of the official social media platforms. And then I'll toss the links as well for the applications for mobile devices, so everyone knows exactly where to find them. But most of all, Diego, thanks so much for being here and talking with us about all the stuff that's going on in this space.
Thank you very much. It was a big pleasure. See you in the next 6 months, maybe.
Yeah, we'll definitely do this again and give folks an update about what's going on. Everyone who's watching, thank you for watching. Until next time, cheers.